Hey everyone, Nubkeks here and welcome back to the road to Grandmaster. In today's video, as you can see, we're hanging out with Zayla. Pretty fun. This video is actually, I recorded this about a week and a half ago, something like that. It's fairly old, though I believe it's still on the same patch. Of course, the new patch is coming out the next day. So yeah, but I think you will really enjoy this video though. I was sitting on it for a little while. But yeah, this is a good time, I think, to bring this one out. Enemy team does first ban Ragnaros, and we'll see what Zayla decides to ban out here. Obviously, the meta has shifted a little bit since we've done this. For example, I think Varian does crop up in this video, and like for example, we weren't sure if he was going to play tank Varian, so that's pretty cool. The enemy team does first pick Falstad. One of the things you're going to notice about this draft, I thought this is a really interesting draft. For example, this Chromie pick, leading it off, right? But what I felt in this game was that going into this, I was very much going like, oh cool, great. This is a game where I think we'd played against a Torbach guy in a previous game and he'd been very good. Going up against them with Zayla on our team, I was going like, okay, this is a good quality game. I'm really hyped for this. And then I was kind of going along with some of the shot calling, and I was feeling like some of the draft was actually quite weird. You'll see what I mean and what happens. But I was feeling like the draft was a little bit weird. I wasn't quite sure where some of these people were coming from. But I was kind of putting it off on... I was basically kind of saying, well, hey, look, you know, maybe these guys are like Grandmasters and it's going to be fine. And like, they just have a better idea of this than I do. Turns out it's not quite the case. They're actually mostly on our team master players. And yeah, you'll see. I think there's some like really big mistakes that do come through in a kind of a weird, interesting way that really show up when you're playing with Grandmasters, which I do find intriguing. But anyway, here we go. So we're looking at this. We've obviously got Varian Chromie. So I really dislike Chromie as a first pick. I mean, she's already been super hard countered by Zeratul, so that's fun. And I mean, she's not particularly good against Falstad either. And then Tychus. Now, luckily they've grabbed all their damage dealers and they've gone for that, so that's somewhat helpful. But yeah, I can't play Malfurion, or not that I basically, at a high level play, like if I feel like I'm playing against Grandmasters, I'm not going to play Malfurion because I don't enjoy the hero. I've never played the hero really, so I just steer away from that. Now I'm looking at Gul'dan as a tanky backliner with good sustained damage that can also like disrupt the team fight and create some threat. My teammate calls for me to play Valla, so I switch over to Valla. And again, this is coming down to the trust thing, right? That I was like, okay, well, these guys, again, we're Dignitaz Zayla and stuff, like these guys could be Grandmasters. I'll go with them. Maybe they've got a better understanding of the draft than I do at this level of play. I'll go with it. Of course, after I picked it, I was like, right, I'm playing Valla without like a shielding hero. We're playing Valla into a Zeratul. We're basically like a Valla with almost no support. This is going to be pretty horrible. The enemy team grabs Rehgar and Muradin. Makes a lot of sense. And then we're going to grab Tyrael as the last pick. So yeah, I was kind of going, oh, the Valla. I'm not really sure about the Valla pick. I love Valla. I think she's great. But this was kind of interesting because our teammate was saying like, I think we won the draft. And then the other guy was like, yeah, we won the draft. And I was sitting at the end of this going, man, I really think we lost this one. I really don't think this is good. Like the enemy, I don't know. I was like, you could say we've got a pretty good team, but damn, the enemy's got a really freaking good team as well. They've got such a solid team as well. So yeah, we've got double warrior. And we've got Chromie, Valla's the damage dealers, and Brightwing. And this is why I was kind of feeling nervous. I was like, oh, that's a lot of weight on my shoulders. Because she's very squishy. And I don't know, maybe it has become a bit of a crutch that, she's such a typical de facto hero to play, with the Zarya or with the Tassadar, right? The classic combinations. It is very difficult then to play Valla without those heroes because you're so vulnerable to being picked off without the double support to back you up. So it's weird. It's definitely a different mindset to play Valla when you don't have that. But yeah, so it's going to be difficult for me to do my damage. Then we've got a Chromie, a first pick Chromie. And yeah, this is looking... It's going to be pretty tough, basically. I definitely... I was confused. I was like, maybe there's some other level of play going on here where they think this is good, but I don't really get it. Now, we do have, like, Varian Chromie, which is a nice combo. I really think the Valla is probably the weakest pick. That doesn't fit in as well at all. Like, I'm very vulnerable. And yeah, we've got, you know, Brightwing. He somewhat counters the Zeratul. And it's a global presence, which is kind of nice here on this particular map. And although Chromie is fairly good on this map, it's just not chosen that early. I mean, it just opens up the Zeratul pick, and that's pretty horrific for her. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I felt like our teammates are picking heroes that are good on, like, individually good on the map or individually do cool things without really looking at the composition, right? We've got a big old fight happening here right at the start. Getting some good poke in. Again, I'm pretty scared. I feel like I could have gotten a kill here. And this is one of the limitations. I've actually tweaked my graphic settings as of, like, the stream today. But yeah, it's... Those early fights can be very difficult. You know, it's like my computer just, like, freeze up a little bit. I feel like I probably could have got a kill if I'd been able to go aggressive. If I had a shielding hero, I definitely would have. But seeing as all we've got is Brightwing, I was a little bit nervous on that. But maybe could have got a kill right there at the start if we dived in. We almost killed the Muradin, but good Stormbolt does keep him alive. And unfortunately the Varian said, like, be careful, and he died. But yeah, to go back to the team comp idea, right? It's like, sure, well, we've got, you know, Chromie is, in theory, good on this map. But then Chromie is also a hero that is fundamentally picked later in the draft because she's super vulnerable to being, you know, bullied around and stuff. Then we've got Brightwing, and she's got the global presence, and she's good to counter Zeratul, so that's actually pretty nice. That's what I was thinking of myself. Then I'm suggesting the Valla. Valla's like a really good range damage dealer, but again, she struggles. She's got to struggle in this situation, you know, where she's only got Brightwing as a support against the Zeratul when you've also got to deal with... that was a nice kill by Zeratul, by the way, just to point that out. Nice pickup by him on the Tyrael, and Tyrael uses his trait to make sure he kills those minions. I'm just gonna stay here, lurk in stealth. Be careful. And then we got the Varian Chromie combo, but then because it was a Chromie early, it's kind of weak. The Tyrael is kind of interesting. It is a little bit of shielding for Valla, and he is pretty good against the Zeratul. But yeah, it's definitely saying, like, you know, it's not a terrible composition, but it's a very difficult one to play, to say the least. You can see Zeratul's coming in. There's no point in even channeling. We're just gonna give him free hits on us if we do that. So cancel the channel. Do a bit of damage and back off. Our teammates are down bottom. We've got one thing each, and I do manage to grab the last one, so that's pretty nice. Zayda's in a bit of trouble. We scare the Falstad away. And so far, so good. That's pretty good damage down, and that is a dead Tychus. And nice, so far we're slightly ahead in shots. We're a bit behind in XP. But things are looking alright. Things are looking alright. You know, the Varian pick potential is always very real, especially combined with the Chromie. What we're going to see as well, going further in this game... Again, I'm being very critical in this game because I'm like, okay, well, if you're playing with, you know, a pro... You know, if you're playing at the level where you do have pro players and Grandmaster stuff, for sure teammates do get killed in the mid lane. If you're playing with people at that level, you really have to be on top of your game. You know, that's the point where bad talent choices, bad team compositions or stuff, where that stuff really gets punished extremely heavily. Unfortunately, they get a bit outplayed right there. I have to say, the enemy team's Zeratul is actually really, really good in this game. But yeah, for example, the last video I had up, Road to Grandmaster video on the channel, was with Shwimpy on our team, and we absolutely stomped the enemy team because, again, they made a couple of bad drafting decisions. You know, I think they first picked like Alarak and Leoric or something on Battlefield of Eternity, and we were just able to wreck their face. They just got absolutely owned. And that was a big problem because, again, you're making these smaller mistakes at this level of play. You just can't afford to make because these players, they will punish you quite substantially. So Brightwing went in a little bit too deep. Again, it was also my fault there, I think, for trying to take the Merc camp. Now, I was positioned fairly safely. Brightwing went forward a bit too much and got picked off. But anyway, I was just kind of saying, like, look, sorry, my fault as well, you know. I was trying to take the Merc camp. It was a risky move. It probably should have backed off once they got scouted out. And I kept going for it. Wasn't a great idea, so my fault on that count. We possibly could have made it out alive. I don't know. But at the same time, we possibly could have been killed. Now, the enemy team is able to invade fairly aggressively here. I maybe could have finished that channel, but they were moving in fairly aggressively. Our teammates have pushed them off. We're going to try secure this altar if possible. Dodge the false stat hammer. They dodged Black Q. That wasn't just badly aimed, I swear. Coming in, trying to put some pressure down. Just on whoever we can get near at this stage. Brightwing does get stun locked and killed off as our teammates kind of split to either side. And this is definitely a little bit of a problem. If Zeratul comes in from behind and he gets blown up, this is fantastic. Focusing the Tychus down, hit him with the Q as well. He's going to go down. A nice Stormbolt actually interrupts Varian mid-charge and prevents that from landing. We're putting pressure on the Falstad now, and Falstad goes down as well. And the team fight turned out to be really good. I was going to chase a little bit. That was actually a Stormbolt snuck over the wall there, if you didn't catch it. So yeah, the fight got pretty crazy there for a while, but it worked out just about in the end. I feel like Zeratul did overextend a little bit. They got a bit too greedy with the Brightwing kill, and we're able to turn it around. And yeah, here we go. Like, as Varian says, this is part of where some of the talent choices or the problems with that start to shine through. But I mean, Brightwing just simply forgot to take Peekaboo on Towers of Doom, and just simply forgot to take Peekaboo against Zeratul. So that's a big problem, you know? That's a big problem. You can't forget to take the perfect talent. One of the main reasons really for picking the hero. If you forget to take the talent, it's a really big problem. The Brightwing build in general is a really big problem. So if you got the Soothing Mist range at 1, okay, that's fine. Level 4 then she got the increased Soothing Mist healing with her E instead of taking Peekaboo against the Zeratul. That's a problem. Then at level 7 she took the Soothing Mist cooldown reduction. So she's gone for like this full sustained healing build against, you know, the Zeratul, against the peak potential. So we don't have a cleanse to, you know, protect, you know, Chromie in any way or anything like that, or protect me. She doesn't have Peekaboo against Zeratul. You know, we could have settled for a full mount build, full teleport build. Could have settled for, you know, build with cleanse, even unstable anomaly, something like that. But I think the sustained healing build really doesn't make any sense considering the needs of this. This is interesting. This sort of, watch this sort of misplay here. I actually could have killed Falstad, except I went for the multi-shot and he had his dash. So when I went to vault after him with the strafe, I didn't have the mana to do it. So definitely screwed myself over there. Need to count mana and stuff a little bit more than normally would. So yeah, that means we burned our ult. We kind of committed to attacking Falstad up top. We didn't get the kill. He was able to tap the well and just fly down. So that's a really big problem. Let's put our teammates in a really, really rough spot there, actually. Little bit of bad luck. Now, it came from a bad angle here as well, and our two teammates are dead. If we'd gone through the lane instead, we might have been a little bit better off. Was looking at the team fight and didn't notice that I'd left myself in pretty bad pathing. Again, if we'd been there, we could have killed the Zeratul. So that was, again, definitely something I could improve on there. Was actually coming through the lane. It was a rough situation, though, where because of the earlier mistake of using too many abilities and not having the vault, which was really the crucial ability against the Falstad, because of that, that's why things got a little bit messy. Because then I was stuck up top. Falstad's perfectly healthy and could actually escape to bottom instead of being a dead Falstad, which would have worked out really nice. They go in aggressively here and they are looking for a big combo. We do get a big strafe off, which is great, and Zeratul actually gets blown up and taken out. Chromie putting some pressure on as well, and in my opinion, you can see right there in the middle of the screen, it's just gone away. Another very poor, very weak talent choice overall, which is Chromie went for Slowing Sands. I like Slowing Sands a lot. However, I feel like this is like the classic example of a game where Temporal Loop is just so much better. You know, first of all, like whenever you're with a tank variant, I'm like, Temporal Loop becomes infinitely more attractive. Because, yeah, the big problem of Temporal Loop is they just cleanse it away, right? You know, they cleanse and that's your whole heroic completely nullified and neutralized. But with Varian, Tank Varian, well, hey, that's another extremely high priority thing that they want to be cleansing, which is the Charge Taunt combo, which is, you know, a 2.25 second stun effectively. Witnessed right here. It's pretty damn good. That's another extremely high priority cleansable thing. So if they cleanse your Chromie heroic, then that's, you know, that's going to be like 2-3 Varian combos that are not going to be cleansed at all. If they have to cleanse a Varian combo, well, hey, that's the Chromie heroic gonna land for sure. Nice jukes. I mean, the Muradin was really good as well. Go in with the strafe to try finish him off. He pops Avatar. Happy to take that trade. No, Avatar is a better heroic than strafe overall, I would say. And that's going to make it much easier for us. Again, he's the solo warrior, so him with not having Avatar, that big survivability ability in this final fight, or not this final fight, but in this fight, is going to be a really big deal for us. Going fairly aggressive here. Just trying to put some pressure on with our teammates. Again... Just another really big misplay. We didn't cap. We didn't cap the thing. Zadia created that play, you know, to zone them out, slow them down, invest everything, push them back to try take the thing right there. Didn't take it, and that's a big problem. We're putting some nice pressure on the Zeratul as well. But Chromie's already dead, and Brightwing is in a really rough spot. We're trying to focus down the Muradin and just try to get a kill on him. He does Dwarf Toss out. We're just getting wrecked now at this point. 100% what should have happened right there. I mean, Brightwing has got a global in the first place, right? And then she's only doing sustained healing. So Brightwing can cap it, teleport up. Chromie can cap it, run up, use her range. There's multiple things that could have gone on there. And they just didn't do it. So that sucks. That sucks. It's a big misplay. There's nothing we could have done. We were obviously running from the other side. But it was really up to Chromie or Brightwing, I would say, would be the main ones that would do that. And I would probably say Brightwing, above anyone else, would be the one that ought to be grabbing that. Anyway, we're going to clear out this Merc camp here, which the enemy team did grab. And middle is in a spot of bother. Which, I mean, I've gone for my personal favorite Valla build, which in this case... Now here we are, kind of just juking around this Muradin, just trying to be careful. I'm not really sure what he's got. We obviously see there's a Zeratul there as well. Gonna pop strafe just to put some kind of return pressure on. We get some good damage down, and we force them back, and we're perfectly healthy walking away from that. But that was definitely a very scary situation. Again, remember, we don't have cleanse on Brightwing, so we could just get locked down and blown up pretty easily. It's a little bit scary, but we came out of it okay. Had to use the heroic, which is not going to be there. But we walked out alive, and that's the main thing. The Valla build I went for in this game, by the way, I haven't covered it yet. I went Hot Pursuit at level 1. Chromie just rotates badly and gets killed, so that really sucks. And then I'm the solo damage dealer here, which is a big problem. We're able to put some pressure on this Zeratul. Dismount the Muradin for what that's worth and kind of back away. Try not to get caught in the Muradin W. But yeah, we're stuck in a fight now. We're down a hero. We're also down a talent tier. Again, giving Brightwing somewhere to port out to. Again, gonna give her another blink heal target. Unfortunately, she's too low life, so she just get picked off. We run away. We don't get hit by the false that stuff, so that's good. But yeah, just a really, again, a couple of just misplays there again. Not sure exactly what happened to the Chromie, but Chromie got caught out, got killed. Then the Zeratul VP came in, and we got stuck in a fight where we were outmanned, outmatched, and we got pretty heavily punished for it. Now, they're gonna get the bottom one. They're going to get the left-hand side one. Actually, our teammates are delaying that. Managed to grab the right-hand side one, so that's something. We don't, you know, miss out on all the altars, so that's good. And that's definitely keeping us in this game. And we need, at this stage, I feel like, kind of every sort of advantage we can get. Putting some pretty good damage down on Muradin, but there's not too much we can do. Staying in the Sanctification protects us from the Gust, which is pretty important. But Varian is dead already. Gonna vault out. Putting good damage down on the Zeratul, who goes in pretty deep. We're able to bully him off quite a bit. But the enemy team does grab the altar. No kills for anyone. And we're looking fairly aggressively here for a potential pick. But yeah, I mean, like, Temporal Loop would have been so useful against the Zeratul. It would have been just really, really good against multiple one of their heroes. And just more single target pick potential. You know, Slowing Sands... I'm just like, Slowing Sands is not going to do much against a Zeratul or a Falstad or even a Tychus, a Muradin. It's just not doing much against anyone on their team. That was nice though. We blew him up, which is very, very good. I definitely would have like gone for Temporal Loop. Then the Chromie also got the range on her tier, talent tier. It's level 11 for her, right? But she got the range instead of timeout or bye-bye against the Zeratul, which again, I personally would be picking timeout here. It's just, yeah. I feel it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. But we're not too far behind. Falstad is dead. And it's been a really hard game, but now this is our chance to make stuff happen. Going pretty low here, turning around, doing what damage I can. Just trying to juke around. VP actually somewhat protecting us from that. And the Tychus damage doesn't hit too hard. Gonna maybe actually turn around and put more pressure on the Zeratul. He does go down. Nice Q from Chromie, picks him off. And we do walk away just about alive. Tyrael did go down as well. 1-for-1 overall though, we can take it. Actually no, Brightwing gets picked off as well. You have to sidestep that Tychus stuff. Definitely don't want to get hit by that. The grenade doesn't hit either, so that's good. We got an altar spawning here. Now Brightwing will be a little bit late coming back alive for this, but she does have her teleport, so of all the heroes to be dead, she's probably the best one to be dead at this particular stage. That's good. You can see this Muradin has been a massive problem. He's just so goddamn tanky. And just burning through him is such a difficult thing to do. That was nice. Nice cleanse, does protect him. I think Taunt was off cooldown though. We void Muradin. He's popped Avatar and he's going pretty hard here. You just get taunted in. We're doing as much damage as we can, but we get gusted in, and this is a bit of a problem. We pop Strafe, we pop Gloom as well, giving us a spell shield, but it's not enough, and we get taken down. Sorry, to finish my talent build, I do have, as we're dead now, Hot Pursuit at level 1, so getting more move speed and mana regen from stacking up our Hatred. This is basically the Hatred build. So we are doing very good damage. The Chromie damage is really bad so far in the game though, and that's been one of the major problems, is that the Chromie pick is... it's just not working, right? It's just not working. Punishment then at level 4. Our Hatred stacks again will improve our multi-shot damage. Then Death Dealer at level 7, our Hatred stacks will improve the damage we get from our Vault bonus damage. So this is just... it's basically sort of maximum damage output, like sort of single target pick potential, sort of that's basically the idea of this, which is, you know, if we do catch a Zeratul or anyone sort of out of position, that we can, you know, burst them down with a Q, then a Hatred empowered W, a Hatred empowered E. It's just like, yeah, it's maximum sort of burst damage, and I'm actually really enjoying this build overall. Level 10, we did get Strafe. You know, the Rain of Vengeance is just not going to be very useful against their team. There's no really good Rain of Vengeance targets. You know, Zeratul's not a good target. And Muradin's not a good target, so there's no point in taking that. Strafe though will give us good guaranteed damage if we do get pressured down by the Zeratul or whatnot. Varian does get killed, but they kill Zeratul in the meantime. I'm trying to work down this top tower. They do have level 20 and we don't, so we pretty much can't take a fight here. We're just trying to hold on with our final 7 core hit points, which is pretty tough. At level 13 I picked up Gloom, and this is a pretty big deal here as well. That's going to give a lot of protection from the Zeratul in particular, and getting ganked by him. We can spend our Hatred to gain spell armor, give us a lot of survivability against that, and that's going to be very useful because really Brightwing cannot do that much to keep us alive aside from polymorphing the Zeratul. Then Seething Hatred at level 16, which means we get 2 Hatred stacks per attack. This will basically synergize with everything we've gotten so far. It will enable us to get that move speed, mana regen, W damage and E damage stacked up really quickly. It also will give us Hatred to spend on Gloom really quickly as well, and lets us use Gloom without pretty much any fear. We're completely free to spend that pretty much Hatred whenever we feel like we're going to be focused down, which will give us, you know, 50% spell armor, give us a lot of survivability. Probably should have popped it there actually, but we were able to vault out with some decent pressure on, but we've got 2 shots left on the core. Unfortunately, we're the one who gets stunned by that. Gonna pop Strafe, get stunned by heavy impact. Balsa goes behind and does gust us. And this is looking pretty dodgy. We're kind of put out as much damage as we can here, going around the side. We pop Gloom, but we're just so out of position and the team is so split up by that, there's very little we can do. Chromie does pick off the false side, so that's good. And yeah, fight's actually not going too badly. This fight's not going too badly. Brightwing does get a good ice block off, which just keep her alive. And level 20 then, I was considering what to get, and I was actually very unsure in this game. Death Siphon would have been nice for more damage, and then also self-healing. I decided to go for ultimately Rancor. So going even more all in on this Hatred build. And I thought that would be really useful to again punish Zeratul more if he ever does go in. And also help burn down the Muradin a little bit, who's just been so tanky, because we just don't have damage that can focus on him. You see really nice sidesteps by the Tychus there. The Zeratul sidestepped as best as he could. But yeah, these, like, they're good players. You can really see that. You know, they're juking around those abilities as efficiently as possible. And that's really good to see. I mean, I suppose I've been very critical of, like, the small mistakes that I've been making, that our team have been making as well, and then some of the talent choices and the draft and stuff. But at the same time, like, you have to hand it to the enemy team. Like, they're playing a really good game. Like, the Zeratul's playing a great game. The Tychus he's just been free to go ham pretty much. Rhaegar's been on point with his cleanses and his ancestrals and stuff, and the Muradin has obviously been very visibly in this game playing a great game as well. Now, with our level 20, we're able to burn through this very, very quickly. That's Rancor doing its work. This, the tower's not going to last too long. And we pretty much need every advantage we can get at this stage. Just every little ounce of map presence. And we need this altar to survive. Everyone's going to be alive. This is the fight that really, really matters. We're going to try to do as much damage to the Muradin as we can, but he's Muradin. He gets out. Get some attacks in on the Rhaegar for what that's worth. Just create any little bit of pressure that we can. Varian engages, but we're not really in a position to follow up here. Boss is a big issue, and Tyrael is guarding that. The enemy team, you can see, is working on that boss. Muradin comes in. We're going to start doing some pressure and do some damage to him. Don't want to be caught and get our attack speed slowed by reverberation. He does pop rewind and gets that off, though. We don't get caught in the VP, and that's huge. We do burn down the Muradin, use Strafe just to guarantee that that's going to hit. Unfortunately, Vault was on cooldown, so we couldn't punish these guys more, but we're able to get forward with our Vault, get him with the W, with the Q. Seething Hatred, really nice in this situation as well, helping our Hatred stacks to last even longer, and that works out really well for us. By the way, in the meantime, off-screen, Xaylia saves the game. he saves the game. He goes, guys, I got the boss. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And he does. The enemy team tries to take the boss. They kill the boss, and he steals the boss away with Holy Ground. Really nice stuff there from Xaylia, and that, I think that's like the sort of the plays that keep us in the game. How we fought in that particular fight, and then Xaylia single-handedly preventing the boss from being stolen, the enemy team committing to that boss, and then getting outplayed for it. That's a huge deal. Now this is pretty interesting. I'm not sure how that shot calling should have gone. So we could have left the Mercs to kill that bottom tower, and we could have focused on taking towers, and that might have been the better option. Instead, we focused on taking the tower ourselves. We got more shots on core, but we gave up a little bit of map position that we would have gotten from just coming and killing this tower in middle. I don't know if it was a mistake or not. I mean, Falstad's still going to be dead, so we still have pretty good map position. It's not a huge deal. Great cleanse from Rhaegar, keeps Tychus alive there. That was really good stuff. I mean, again, that's a serious situation. Temporal loop, that would have been a dead Tychus. That would have been a dead Tychus. Just land that temporal loop after the cleanse arrives, and he's stuck there. We're going to work down this top tower. The enemy team is working on taking the bottom one back. Xaylia delaying as much as he can, but Falstad, excuse me, does fly down and prevents that from being taken. But this is pretty good for us now. We take down the top tower as well. Varian's going for the siege camp, which isn't a terrible idea. That's some more shots on core. The enemy does take back that middle tower, but we should be in a pretty good spot to actually have control of the top one. Give us a little bit more control over the fight, and really lucky altar spawns here that, you know, we have the top two towers while the altars come in. We spot the Zeratul. Hello, friend. That doesn't land, and Zeratul gets out. We take a little bit of damage from the false set there. Odin is popped. Now this is a problem. We've got two altars, and we need both of them. If the enemy team gets even one, we're going to die. I think I missed the cue right there. I wasn't quite looking at the screen, sorry, during the commentary. And we go in with the strafe, we get punished for it. Trying to put damage down on the Zeratul. He's got rewind though, he gets Ancestraled, and we're just dead at this stage. Falset flies over. Xaylia has to go and interrupt. There's nothing he can do. And yeah, we just got burnt down. We didn't get a kill. We got punished for it, and then the global presence. We just get picked off in the end. Just outplayed in that final team fight. Really well done by the enemy team, and the power of the false side global as well is a pretty big deal. And that's the end, unfortunately. That's the end. There's the stats as well. So we did pretty well on the Valla. It was very difficult. I actually, as you can see, just cancelled the recording at the end. I was very frustrated coming out of this game, and that's part of why I didn't use it before. But then when I watched it back the other day, I was like, oh yeah, I had this game. I watched it back and said, no, this is actually really, really good. It's to make a really good video. So that's why I kept it in. But walking out from that, I was like so frustrated. And I was just kind of going, we won the draft! We won my arse, we won the fucking draft. That was a fucking terrible draft, man. But it came out pretty close to the end, so you know, it wasn't a terrible draft. It wasn't the best draft. It certainly wasn't like a categorical win. So yeah, it was an interesting one though. It was an interesting game. I'll try get a screenshot up of like the talent builds and everything so you can see those and the stats and stuff. Overall though, I think, you know, it was a pretty good Valla game. We played the Valla game fairly well. There was definitely a couple of opportunities for going a bit more aggressive. You know, there was that Merc camp thing where we actually went too aggressive trying to take the Merc camp. We could have backed off. But on the whole, we did pretty much the most that we could on the Valla. It would have been really nice to get, you know, like Manticore at 16. That would have been lovely to help burn down the Muradin a bit more. But it's just one of those things. I think Seething Hatred was just a better choice. You know, it's a small difference either way. It's a small difference either way. It's just one of those rough things where, because of what we're going up against, you know, we're going up against a Zeratul, a Tychus, a Falstad, you know, and a Muradin. Like, we're going up against a really aggressive team as Valla, and we've got quite little protection, actually, for ourselves. Quite little protection. But I think, you know, if we had different talents, I think the game actually could have turned around. Looking at the enemy team's talent builds, they all had really good talent builds. Their talent builds were just fine. They're very strong. Ours were, I would say, an awful lot weaker. I think our talent builds were a problem. I mean, on the enemy team, the Falstad did go for a Seasoned Marksman, which is, you know, it's hit or miss. It's, you know, he could have gone for the second Q thing. He obviously went Seasoned Marksman in case they went for Bloodlust, and Bloodlust could have potentially worked. But Seasoned Marksman works very well too. So, you know, that's something. You know, if you had a Q quest, yeah, it wouldn't make much difference. But anyway, that's kind of the only thing though that kind of stands out for me on the enemy team as being potentially questionable. The rest was like really good. On our team, there were a few things. So, you know, the Varian, he got Demoralizing Shout at the end instead of like the better banner, and you know, the better banner it would have been more useful. Demoralizing Shout is just not a good heroic. It's just not a good heroic, or not level 20. I mean, the radius is really small. It's just not going to be super effective. I think definitely better level 20. That's a small thing. The bigger things for me were, you know, well, the first thing that cropped up in this game was the Brightwings build. You know, going for this sustained healing build against a, you know, a very sort of blow up oriented team with the Muradin, Zeratul, Falstad, and the Tychus. A team with a lot of burst damage and kill pressure. Just like no peekaboo on a map where it's really good, and against Zeratul, that's a big problem. You know, no cleanse is a bit of a problem as well, or like not getting a shield. You know, shielding me on Valla, like that level 7 Brightwing shield on Valla, that would have been such a huge deal. It would have let me go so much more aggressive. I would have said, you know, cleanse, and then, you know, probably peekaboo, and then level 1 you can still go for the Soothing Mist thing. That's fine. But then, like, if you're not going to go cleanse because you're only really needed against Muradin, maybe you can make that argument. I would have definitely been going for that teleport build and just have reduced cooldown and teleport, so be able to teleport around the map, use that global, have multiple like big shields at level 7 to enable your Valla to be way more aggressive because she's got that protection, or protect the Chromie from the Zeratul in that way, have the peekaboo to reveal the stealth and get zone control, and also enable your team more. I just feel like that's a really big problem. You know, that talent build in particular, it's a really big problem. And then Chromie, you know, slowing sands, reaching through time. Yes, oftentimes they're the best talents, but in this situation, I don't think so. I think, you know, Temporal Loop, when you've already got Varian, you've already got like a high priority cleanse thing, Temporal Loop is going to get value because they're not saving the cleanse just for that, or if they do, then Varian's going to get more value. So that's a pretty cool thing. You can kind of trade out the value of your heroic for the Variance thing, and it works pretty well. And then also, it's going to be good against, I also forgot to say, but it'd be good against Zeratul going for the flanks if he's just not, he might not be near enough Freyguard to get cleansed. And that could be really powerful for getting a guaranteed kill on the Zeratul. I think it would have worked much better. I haven't really noticed the slowing sands in this game, but I just don't feel they're very useful against, you know, what are they going to do against Muradin and Zeratul, who are hyper mobile, and Muradin's tanky enough anyway. He doesn't really care. Zeratul doesn't care. He's kind of dodging around the place. Then Tychus and Falstad are ranged. I just don't see it actually doing anything. I think Temporal Loop would be much better, and then, you know, the timeout to actually protect yourself from the Zeratul again. I don't know. Again, like, they picked relatively good talents. I just feel like they didn't work out that well in this game. And then, you know, we had some really good team fights. The enemy team had some good team fights. For me, on the Valla, I felt like we played it pretty well. I walked away very happy with that. For the most part, for my gameplay, I was like, okay, it's a pretty good level of gameplay. Maybe we could have gone for a Q build. That would be maybe the only real difference we could have done for a bit more single target focus. But I don't know, I felt like the build I had worked well. Yeah, I don't know. It was just an interesting game, but I just thought it was funny, you know, that you have like these kind of. I thought it highlighted very much like the difference between like the sort of the master and then these grandmaster players. And we had several grandmasters on the enemy team, and that on our team that people are saying like we got a really good draft. We've like totally won the draft, when I think it's quite clear that it really wasn't, you know, a dominant draft. It was, you know, at best it was an even draft, I would say. And then that like they're really happy. Like again, I just think it's, you know, there's that step up to the grandmaster level thinking, where you're thinking about, you know, compositions, how your heroes work together, and like how not just how individual heroes counter each other, which is a really good thing to be thinking about, but or just, you know, thinking about the map. And these guys were thinking about that. They think about, okay, you know, well, what heroes are good on this map, you know, just from a standalone perspective though. Then, you know, they're thinking about a couple of counter picks in there as well, the Brightwing and stuff, and that's good. They're thinking about the Varian Chromie combo, that's good too. But like I think it's kind of clear that the thought process didn't go far enough, right? It didn't go far enough. You're taking a lot of the right steps, but like it's only, the thought process is only going like 80% of the way there, and you kind of go, oh, it's like we won the draft easy. Whereas if you push that thought process, you know, a bit further, you kind of go, oh well, hang on, you know, what the enemy team can, they've got these things that they can do well about this, or we need these talents to make these synergies really work, and stuff like that. But yeah, I've been interested to see how the game would have gone if I'd had Gul'dan. It would have been a different game. But yeah, I don't know. I hope you guys find that really interesting. I found it really interesting to watch back anyway, and I hope I did it justice with the commentary. But there you go. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time for more Road to Grandmaster. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all then. Bye-bye.